The world is never going to be the same again.
I'm worried about the world.
The mass chaos and crises that there was in the world, it's going to be just like that now.
This is not an accident.
How long is it going to last? Longer than, even for those of you that have some cash in the bank, way past your cash reserves.
Out of 100 people, 4 will get the message.
This thing isn't going to be over in a few weeks. This thing isn't going to be over in a few months.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As guys, altcoin season, I'll say it again and again, is here. We saw the different phases of the crypto bull run already take place. Bitcoin shot up a lot in value. Ethereum shot up a lot in value. Large cap coins have shot up a lot in value, and still others still have room to run. And now we are seeing mid caps, low caps, and even micro caps beginning to rev their engines. For example, Zilliqa, a crypto that I mentioned at half a penny in my Udemy course, is now at 21 cents. This token went up 100% in a day, and then yesterday went up another 80%. These things are commonplace in a crypto altcoin season, and it is something you cannot ignore. It is an initial indicator for our profit taking and our bull run and many other coins. In addition, guys, there was yet another crypto that experienced an explosive move. IOST. Now, IOST is a token I've never talked about before on any platform, but the reason I'm saying this now is, one, because I'm telling all of you this is another example of an altcoin that's experiencing its altcoin bull run. And in my Udemy course down in the description below, I have found another gem that's about to execute its massive bull run now. It experienced a similar pattern that IOST has experienced right before it took off this 50%. And it's about to take off in the next 7 days. Lecture 163 is where I've posted this token, and I believe a 10x run for it is about to begin any day now. Please take a look at that one. Finally, guys, for my OnlyFans community, I will be having a Q&A tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And I've also posted a lecture in there that helps all of you know some of the indicators that I use in prepping for profit taking, as well as knowing when things are about to take off. Please don't miss it. Now, with all that being said, I'm taking you guys to TradingView and showing you guys something astonishing that has just taken place. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the US dollar relative to the Russian ruble. We saw an initial run up relative to the ruble for the US dollar immediately after Russia invaded. Now we are seeing the dollar against the ruble collapse. Boom! Right back to where it started. And to me, that is signaling the demise of the US dollar. The Russian economy felt immense levels of pain. Now, I believe it's going to be our turn. And there's a number of reasons why. These sanctions are backfiring. As Market Insider stated, sanctions on Russia could eat away at the dollar's global dominance and boost the use of crypto. Here it says specifically that it could spur the adoption of crypto, but there's still a gap in regulation. We know this, we understand this, and once that regulation globally is in place, Lord knows the levels we are about to head into. In addition, guys, we see the relations between China and Russia strengthening. China has even stated they're wanting to push a bilateral relationship with Russia to a higher level. All of this while at the same time, Russia states it envisions a new democratic world order alongside China. Remember, Joe Biden himself stated, we're on our way into a new world order. Russia has a 3-step program to put the ruble on a gold standard. Remember this, guys. Step 1. Offer a premium fixed price for gold to domestic Russian banks who can't sell their gold internationally due to sanctions, encouraging domestic gold flows into the Bank of Russia. Step 2. Strengthen the ruble internationally by insisting on energy payments in rubles, turning fixed price into premium internationally as well, encouraging international gold flows into Russia. Step 3. Turn the ruble into a credible gold substitute at a fixed rate. Ladies and gentlemen, all we've seen over the past month and a half is the US dollar weakening and the ruble going from extremely weak to firm and grounded. We have strength with the ruble. And now Russia executed a power move as well. All of Russia's big exports could soon be in rubles. Here, we have to understand that Russia is a big exporter of energy. We have to understand that Europe is dependent on Russian energy. We have to understand that these sanctions will either cause an energy crisis in Europe or will cause a stronger Russian economy. And while they're not demanding this immediate switch to rubles right now, when it does happen, it's going to be shocking. Remember, Saudi Arabia and China as well have been rumored to be discussing buying oil in yuan. It's the birth of the petro yuan, the collapse of the US dollar, and the strengthening of the Russian economy with oil and gold happening all at once. In my opinion, 110% yes. The United States has nothing economically right now. And to make matters worse, BRICS countries will be at the heart of a new world order, as stated by a Russian deputy foreign minister. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you forget it. We're on the precipice of a supply chain, food, and energy shock happening all at once. And good old Klaus Schwab is letting all of you know from the World Economic Forum that it's coming now.
We do not yet know the full extent and the systemic and structural changes which will happen. However, we do know that global energy systems, food systems, and supply chains will be deeply affected.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that was stated by Joe Biden as well. Food crisis on the horizon. The United States literally has nothing left going for itself except one company with one digital asset that we believe can be used to help the plumbing of the global financial system. But instead of helping it thrive, the SEC has decided to sue it. And then when the judge requests evidence and documents from the SEC, this is the type of bullshit we receive. These things out. This is how uncooperative the SEC has been. Seems to me like they have plenty to hide when it comes to this case. And all they really seem to be able to do well is try to drag this case out longer and longer. But that's besides the point. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's something you need to understand. This was also warned about by President Joe Biden. And we need to understand as well that a third of the world's wheat production comes from Russia, Ukraine, meaning a food shortage is very real. That's going to be a hot commodity in the days, weeks, and months to come, and you better be prepared. But something I really want to pivot all of your attention to, aside of the geopolitical events at play, is the climate change narrative, because it is one that the Bitcoin maxis continue to ignore. Chris Larson, Ripple executive, has made the mainstream in a lot of Bitcoin circles and is being opposed strongly for offering that Bitcoin move to proof of stake. I'm gonna play you this clip of him stating what he really means and the future of what the world is gonna be. But I'm gonna preface it with this. Ladies and gentlemen, I find no issue with what Chris Larsen is trying to do, and in fact, I take it as a warning, because Chris Larsen often echoes the news for the classes. He has the inside scoop and information. He works with the global elites. They want the climate change narrative. And if Bitcoin does not capitulate, we could be in for a rough time for it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to argue. I'm just telling you what I believe is going to happen. Now guys, please take a listen.
And have basically been kicking out the Bitcoin miners because I think they saw that it was hurting their efforts to get the carbon neutral by, I think it is 2050, right? So what's going on now is they're going to other countries. Kazakhstan, that's not good because that's all fossil fuels. But now coming to the US, there's a lot of smart entrepreneurs who now are creating renewable energy mining. But I'm sorry, there's no such thing as green mining because it's not necessary. They should be changing just like Ethereum did. And by the way, now I think the founder of Zcash also announced they're switching from proof of work to a different low energy protocol. Hats off to them too. But the Bitcoin folks need to make the switch as well. It's unconscionable that right today, you're gobbling up on the order of 70, and depending on the price, because it's correlated price, 70 to 140 trillion watt hours of energy. Look, if all of that was green energy, that's not good, because that green energy should be used for green steel making, green aluminum, green concrete, agricultural usage, direct air capture, green hydrogen, you name it. I mean, there are just so many battles that are being waged in this war, and that green energy needs to go elsewhere. A big part of getting carbon neutral is don't use energy where you don't need it. And you don't need it to confirm the state of blockchains. You just don't need it. So make the damn code change. And I tell you, I just don't think it's going to happen voluntarily. And by the way, look, this is not some secret AI that runs Bitcoin, okay? It's about 20 to 30 very influential, very wealthy people that are going to make that decision between the core developers, the exchanges and the miners. By the way, there's a fascinating book I've been reading called the Block Size Wars. And it's fascinating because this kind of goes back to one of the big changes that was proposed to increase the block size and sort of how that played out. And that was a very small group of people that prevented that. So again, this is a small group of people that are incredibly wealthy that could make this change, but they're not going to do it voluntarily because they've been making this pitch for 10 years and it just doesn't hold water anymore, right?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is such an important point. Chris Larsen stated they're not going to do it voluntarily anymore. That's one of those things that I think could be a warning, not that he's going to do something, but that maybe some government officials might try to. We understand the climate change agenda is at play here. The whole world is trying to go carbon neutral. That is something that cannot be ignored, and we have to see what could happen with that. Now, regardless about how you feel about it, that could be a big reason why a lot of community members believe Bitcoin is currently in a bear market right now, while altcoins are about to appreciate in value. Also keep in mind the growing perspective and climate conscious millennials that are going to be taking over the investment class.
The millennials, for example, have become the largest generation. They'll soon be the largest investors. They've entered their 40s. We know that they're very motivated by responsible spending, responsible investment. How do you see the market changing?
I think your observation about millennials is very well taken. We have a key role in setting requirements for public company disclosure. So that's different from setting substantive requirements around, GHG, around any other kind of ESG metric. Our rules are just aimed at getting accurate information into the markets. We want to get the data out there so that markets can function efficiently. And I think, right now, I think there's a gap that we need to address when it comes to climate and ESG so that investors can price risk, can allocate capital efficiently, and can allocate capital as they see fit. The potentially single most important data point might be GHG emissions disclosure. Well, so when you say a strategy that's active, of course, I'm limited in what I could say about ongoing enforcement matters. But as you probably know, we have a task force, a climate and ESG task force that I initiated when I was the acting chair, and I'm very pleased to see it continues to be, well supported by the current chair and director, our enforcement director, Graywall. So, we can and should enforce what's on the books, the rules that we have that implicate climate and ESG, because those are obviously material topics at some level. So companies are just churning out hundreds of pages of disclosure related to ESG right now on a voluntary basis, but they understand that they are still subject to anti-fraud protections, correct? Because the enforcement division is going to look at this the same way they do any other type of disclosure, whether it's voluntary or whether it's required, and that is to make sure that it's materially complete and that it's materially accurate.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that right there is massive. Posted by Crypto Eddie, SEC's Leon greenhouse gas emissions disclosure. This is not going away. This is going to be extremely relevant moving forward. Spendabits, which is an Alberta-based new startup cryptocurrency payment wallet powered by the XRP ledger, is going to become extremely relevant in moving Bitcoin over to the XRP ledger. And Chris Larson may be spot on in helping Bitcoin's future. My conclusion from all of this is that Bitcoin maxis need to think ahead. But I think it's going to be a situation where they won't start to think ahead until it hits them right on the head. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with all that being said, to cap off this video for today, we have this extremely bullish piece of news for the eventual launch of the Flare network. When Flare? The answer: the team is aiming for July 4th, 2022 to be confirmed in mid-June, subject to audit. Flare is not just enabling early Layer 1 tokens to be used with smart contracts. It's bringing advanced cross-chain interoperability to all networks. This is a powerful roadmap of what they're looking to accomplish. These are the anticipated order of events for the Flare network. Rectification if issues are found. Trial of bits audit. If audit passes, the Flare launch will occur July 4th. 75% of initial 15% distribution will have been completed soon after. Then, the launching of F-Assets, governance updates on token distributions, Songbird Bridge launch, Layer Cake Bridge Batch 1, FTSO performance upgrades, F-Asset B launch, Layer Cake Bridges Batch 2. Everything becomes connected. This is just a general overview of this roadmap, and I highly recommend you watch Mickey B and Patty XRP as well as Flare community for additional insights and what this means. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to remember, because you cannot forget how essential this technology is going to be. Plenty of members of the XRP community will be getting their Spark tokens. Some of us may not have gotten our Songbird yet, but don't worry, I believe Coinbase will be distributing those at some point soon. I'm personally bullish on all Flare network products, on Songbird as well. And it's something that if you guys have not gotten educated on yet, you must. I also don't think it's an accident this July timeframe is when they're anticipated to launch, because at that point, I believe XRP's price will be much higher. Flare network will most likely launch when there's positive XRP sentiment, and I think this date may be a powerful indication of when things with this case may resolve. That is only speculation on my part, but it's not unfounded at all. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
I get 24 hours a day just like Bill Gates. I get 24 hours a day just like Beyonce and Jay-Z. You get 24 hours a day, ladies and gentlemen. What do you do with your 24 hours? You need to get more information. In our coaching program, all we do is drop content nonstop. And people are like, wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. See, you don't even know what you don't know. How did you let me come from behind and clip you? Do you guys know the studies show the better we look, the more money we make? Which means your website should pass the eyeball test. Your truck should pass the eyeball test. Your people should pass the eyeball test. You should pass the eyeball test. Everybody in this room has a promised land somewhere, but you can't be stuck on the city you like. You gotta hear God and go to your promised land. Your promised land might be Utah. Your promised land might be Minnesota. Your promised land might be Wyoming. Hear me clearly. You better use your money to get information and access, and you better be flexible because a real shark is flexible. Can we stop fronting and get real about this thing? And if I can do it, you can do it. I knew nothing about life. I knew nothing about business, but I had the right mindset, and I learned it through sports. And y'all got to hear my story so you understand. I didn't even start on my college basketball team. I came off the bench. At the University of Minnesota, I came off the bench. But in my mind, you can bring me off the bench, but I'm an NBA ball player when you get through talking. When you get through, I'm an NBA ball player. And that's why I would walk around and say, you can't check me. You can't check me. You can't check me. If I was you, I would walk around every day and say, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I declare it right now. I'm worth millions. I'm worth millions. I will receive my salary right now, but I won't accept it as my value. So whatever you receive right now, receive it, but don't you accept it as your value. Because there's more out here for you if you change your mindset.